First time was when I was fishing on the river, right in southeast Minnesota there. Cast a gob of eggs out there and set my pole down. And then just kind of walked away playing with my brother. Next thing you know, my dad sees my pole go flying towards the water. So he runs down, grabs it, calls for me. I reel it in, and here's this 18-plus inch rainbow trout that I pulled up.
And that did it for you. You were in love with fishing ever since then.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Angie Scott and Barb Carey.
Welcome to episode 24 of the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. I'm Angie Scott. On this week's episode, Barb Carey has a great chat with a young lady named Hailey Alfson. Hailey is only 14 years old, but her passion for fishing is already deeply entrenched in her life, so much so that she dreams of being a professional guide when she grows up. Before we jump into that, I wanted to mention real quick that since our last episode came out with Shannon Rizzo from Global Girl, we partnered with her to help a lady down in Puerto Rico who survived Hurricane Maria. Her name is Margie. She was an insurance coder, but after the hurricane, the company she worked for couldn't reopen, so she was left to her own resources to find a way to support her family, and she went back to her old passion of jewelry making. She began crafting pieces from whatever materials she could scrounge up from the beach, including seashells, sea glass, tree bark, seeds, and even fish scales. The fish scales is what really piqued my interest. I've never seen anything like this. They're beautiful. They're from tarpon, and she coats them and adds them to necklaces and earrings, which we have available for you to purchase at thewomanangler.com. We're calling it the Resilience Collection, and hope to add bracelets and ankle bracelets soon. If you want to help support Margie, please head on over to thewomanangler.com website and check it out. If you use the coupon code FISHON at checkout, you'll get free shipping. Okay, now let's get over to Barb's visit with Hailey.
Welcome to the Women Angler Adventure, and I am Barb Carey, co-host of the show with Angie Scott, and today I'm in Lake of the Woods, Minnesota. You know, fishing brings you on so many great adventures, and you meet so many wonderful people, and I am here on the shoreline in Lake of the Woods, staying in a little cabin at River Bend Resort, and sure enough, new people move into the cabin next to me, and I meet this fascinating person by the name of Hailey, and she is 14 years old and a die-hard angler. She saw the boat and just her eyes bugged out of her head, and she's all about fishing, wearing a fishing hat, wearing a fishing shirt, and I had to talk to her because she's super interesting. Hailey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So I understand that you are on your way home from Alaska and you have a mega fishing life. Tell me about your summer in Alaska.
Well, it all started in southeast corner of Minnesota. Went all the way through Idaho, picked up my cousin there, and then head up to Canada, drove through. I went fishing in Montana, North Dakota, Yellowstone, which is kind of Montana and Wyoming there. Let's see. And then I fished in Washington, caught a couple cutthroat there. And then in the British Columbia, what did I catch there? Yeah, I think I caught a couple rainbows there.
So you actually stopped at all these different destinations. You're driving from southeastern Minnesota up to Alaska to spend the summer, and all along the way you stopped to fish. Is that how it happened?
Exactly.
So what were you doing in Alaska for the summer?
Visiting family, fishing, just pretty much on vacation.
So do you have family that live up there, or did you just go up for the whole summer on vacation?
Oh, yeah. My grandparents live up there along with my aunt. My grandpa's got a boat up there, but just kind of visiting family.
So how long have you loved fishing?
Ever since I was 4, really.
So do you remember the first time you caught a big fish?
Oh, yeah. First time was when I was fishing on the Root River, right in southeast Minnesota there. Cast a gob of eggs out there and set my pole down. And then just kind of walked away playing with my brother. And next thing you know, my dad sees my pole go flying towards the water. So he runs down, grabs it, and calls for me. I reel it in, and here's this 18-plus inch rainbow trout that I pulled up.
And that did it for you. You were in love with fishing ever since then.
Oh, yeah. And then that same summer, I went up to Alaska and caught big old king salmon, bigger than me.
Wow. So it sounds like you've been fishing your whole life, and you really have a passion and a desire to work in the fishing industry. What do you hope to do when you grow up?
Well, ever since I was 11, when I went up to Alaska for 3 weeks and fished pretty much every single day, I've always wanted to become a guide. So what kind of guide would you, if you could guide anywhere for any species, what would it be? Probably a fly-out fishing guide, going over to Big River Lakes and Kenai Peninsula, Alaska over there, Cossetan River, Crescent Lake, stuff like that.
Wow, sounds amazing. Now, one of your family members is a float plane pilot, is that correct?
Yeah, my dad. He's actually a pilot for a company called NetJets. He flies corporate jets, timeshare company. So that's what he does when he's back down in the lower 48. But every now and then he goes up to Alaska and helps his old buddy out being a float plane pilot up there, bush pilot.
Wow, what an experience. You know, some people wait their whole lifetime to have adventures like that, and you just had that adventure all summer long. What were some of the highlights of this summer fishing up there?
Probably the drive up. That was a big plus. Being up there with my family, but fishing, I went out on, I think, like 7 or 8 flyouts this summer, going out fishing with people I'd never met. I get on the boat and they're just like, who's this? And by the end of the day, I'm best friends with them, really. So going out there, catching reds from early June to kind of mid to late July. And then mid-July through August, and the silvers are coming in. Catch silvers on eggs, spinners, whatever you want to do.
So you fish at home, too, or just in the summers in Alaska?
Oh, I fish at home, too. I fish for bass, panfish, trout. I love trout fishing back home. But I fish for pretty much anything that'll be biting.
So you seem to be a kid that has such a passion for fishing, and you know, what a great lifestyle that is, to be outside and to be in nature and being away from the video games and all the social media chaos that's going on. What advice can you give parents to help their kids kind of light that fire of passion in them for these outdoor activities like fishing?
Take a kid fishing. Go to a place where you know there's going to be fish. And if you can, go up to Alaska, go with Talon Air, and you'll have a blast.
Well, I feel like I know someone kind of special up in Alaska now. If I call you next spring and say, hey, I want to go to Alaska, where should I go?
Go to Talon Air. They got the best guides. Whether you're looking for someone that knows what they're doing, who's a lot of fun, or you want someone, if you're like an avid fly fisherman, go up there. There's guides who know what they're doing for fly fishing. There's guides that have been there for 30 plus years. They're old.
Oh my God, those old 30-year-olds. How are they even getting out of bed in the morning?
No, they've been there for 30 years. They're older than 30. They're more like 70.
Well, I won't hold that old comment against you. I probably have shoes older than you are. In fact, I'm probably the ones I'm wearing are older than you are. But it's so fun to talk to a young woman who is so interested in fishing, because, so many of these younger people are just, it's not even in their wheelhouse to think about fishing. And I saw you light up when you saw the boat. I see your tackle box out here and your rods and your reels, and you obviously know what you're doing, and your setup is awesome here. And what do you think your high school now? These high school fishing leagues are getting really popular. Are you dialed into anything at all that you can do competitively or in your area as far as the youth programs?
We don't have a high school fishing team in Houston High School. I'd like to get one, but there is a few by us. There's a fishing team in Winona and Sparta, I believe, Sparta, Wisconsin. And there's a lot of kids in my class that love fishing, love hunting, almost as much as I do. But I just haven't been able to get a fishing team going, I guess.
So maybe that's something I can help you with. You know, we can, I know a lot of people, and maybe we can kind of do some shout outs on Facebook or something, see if we can't get someone that's willing to come into your school and coach that. I bet your mom would help, as she's looking over here, shaking her head.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
I think that makes such a huge difference, you know. I mean, you get kids involved in that, and that's how you learn. Who, you know, being able to fish with someone who knows more than you do, and that's really how your skills improve. And, you know, having that network of people, who are you learning from now? I mean, you obviously, when you're fishing, there's always new stuff to learn, and that's what good anglers do. They're always looking to get better and to learn more. Who's really your mentor that's teaching you stuff?
A lot of the guides up in Talon, they've taught me a lot. They help me out. They give me tackle that they don't use anymore. They give me pointers on what to do, what don't to do if you're, like, when I become a guide. Just kind of, they give me free poles that they fish out of the lake. One of my good buddies, Bill Davis up in Alaska, he fished out pretty much a brand new fishing pole out of the lake, and he's always sitting by his stuff, and I was looking at it. He said, "Here you go." So he gives me free stuff like that.
So on the reverse side of that, who are you mentoring? Who are you helping become a better angler? I'm sure a lot of your peers don't know a fraction of what you know. Are you helping them out?
Oh, yeah. I'm taking my cousins out. My cousin Addie, she loves fishing. I was fishing on the Kenai here about 3-4 weeks ago, maybe. Going out there, not having much luck, but she's still having so much fun. And I see all these little trout down there right off the dock. So I grab a little piece of egg on a tiny little trout hook, drop it down there, and she's just catching these tiny little 4-inch trout. She's just having a blast. So she's hooked on it, hopefully anyways. I think she probably is. But anything I can do to help people that want to get started, I'm right here.
Well, you know, so refreshing. I mean, people talk about kids nowadays and this and that, but if we have more kids like you nowadays, I think the world's going to be a better place. And, you know, think about, we were talking earlier about conservation and about species and the delicate ecosystems. And, I mean, you're kind of a sharp kid when it comes to all this stuff. And, you know, I'm really so happy that we met, and I hope that we can stay in touch, and anything I can do to help further your career in the fishing industry, I'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, that would be great. I've honestly been saving up to buy a boat here for like 3 or 4 years ever since I went up there, and sold my 2 guitars, amp, and everything, and I got like $400 out of that. But yeah, I've been looking to buy like a flat bottom boat for the longest time. But yeah, it would be a lot of fun to get a fishing team going locally. Just stuff like that. That would be awesome.
Well, you know, if anyone can do it, you can do it. Sometimes when things aren't there, you got to make it happen yourself, you know, and that's what my mom told me. If you want something done right, you better do it yourself. And that's how I got started doing this stuff. It wasn't available to me. There was no women's fishing clubs available to me, so I started one myself. And I challenge you to, you know, if you want that going in your school, I bet you can do it.
Oh, yeah. I bet I could probably do it.
Well, I'm going to check back with you. I'm going to follow along on Instagram and see if you get it going or not. And really, thank you so much for talking to me today, Hailey. You're an inspiration to me, and I'm sure your mom is looking over there really proud of you. And congratulations on your successes so far, and good luck as you go down the road.
Yeah, thank you.
Wasn't that refreshing to listen in on Barb's chat with Hailey, a young girl who is so passionate about fishing and passing her knowledge along to her peers, getting out in nature and having a blast, now dreaming of a career in the fishing industry. Speaking of that, the Fishing Careers Workshop is coming up soon, Saturday, October 27th at Madden's on Gull Lake in Brainerd, Minnesota, hosted by Al and Troy Lindner. And our very own Barb Carey will be speaking. I'll also be there. If you've ever thought of a career in the fishing industry, a highly recommend you check this out. To find out more about it, go to mycampfish.com. I'll post a link to that in the show notes for this episode, which will be at thewomanangler.com/24. I'll also link to the It Pays to Fish episode I did with Troy Lidner, where we also talked about the word shop. There you'll be able to see some photos of Hailey and much more as well. Thanks again for tuning in to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. Please tune in again next week, where we'll be featuring yet another super inspiring outdoors woman and adventurer. Stay safe, everyone.